Hey, hey, hey. Hi, guys. Monday Madness here. It's Monday, the 22nd of October. It's Victoria Terrazzano, for those of you who don't know me. And we're in Melbourne, Australia, about 9:30 at night. And I'm coming to you live on one of my Monday Madness lives that I've been doing now for 6 weeks. See, I think this is episode 6. So I missed one last week completely. Just honestly, I can't apologise enough. Literally one of those little things of the day got really busy. I got caught up in the little jobs and everything, and I went to bed, and then I suddenly realised it was Monday and it was too late. So I'm really sorry. Last Monday, I completely missed that. It was Monday. I'm going to be moving around a little bit because I noticed that you get this silly reflection in my glasses. I hope that's not too distracting. Sorry. Hi, Dion. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. So this week's a little bit different. Normally I've got a bit of a subject, something I want to talk about with what we're learning, or maybe with the parenting, or, what we're experiencing in relation to behavioural challenges, or just personal growth, or, and let's be honest, when I say behavioural challenges, I'm not just talking about the kids. There's me too. I have lots of issues there that we're working on. So that's always nice. Hi, Leanne. Welcome on board. I hope it's fun. This week is a little bit different and hopefully a little bit shorter, unless anyone wants to, sort of jump on and add some things. So a couple of weeks ago, I put a post on my feed that talked about this. This is my Ninja Networker book. So I'm currently doing a 90-day challenge with my work. For those who know me, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I like to know everything I like to try and do a good job. I don't think anything's worth doing if you're not going to do it properly. And I definitely think if you're going to do something, do it as well as you can. So since I have got into my new role, I have taken it very seriously. I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of looking up. I've done a lot of learning. Obviously, now we're into the time of having to actually do the job with all that information that I've learned. But one of those things is a challenge that I'm doing at the moment for 90 days, where I'm trying to improve my professionalism, get more consistent, make sure that I am replying to messages from people, make sure I'm keeping in contact with people as I should, and just make sure that I'm providing all the information that everybody needs. So one of the challenges was actually to go live and share your story. Now, luckily, I was already doing live, so that's worked out well. So I thought what we'll do is we'll hijack this week's Monday Madness to do my live story share, and then next week we'll go back to the usual, sharing some information about myself and the kids and what we're learning and what we're doing, and sort of just, life generally, or observations during the week. I was going to do this week a little bit more about the stop shouting at the rain thing. So I'm really quite keen to do that next week, because it's a big thing for me at the moment, the focusing on what you can change and not spending your energy where you don't need to and stuff like that. I think we're all very, very time poor. And I think, if you can make sure that you are focusing all your energy and your time, that old rule of working smarter and not harder. And I think one of the biggest questions we need to ask ourselves is what is stuff that I can actually do anything about and should be spending my energy on, and what is stuff that I can't. So that was probably the subject for next week, and we'll go from that. So this week's challenge from my Ninja Networker is to share my story. Now, I did actually sort of type it up a bit and print it out, right? But I have to be honest, if I try and read that, it's going to sound odd and look weird, and it just, it's late and I'm tired, so I'm not going to. I'm actually just going to tell you my story. And obviously, a lot of the people following my feed probably do know me quite well. I think something like 80% of my feed is people that I've probably known since I was like 6 or 7, or definitely since I've gone to school, or their relatives, or, so a lot of you do know like my back story. But in relation to the last few years, obviously a lot's been going on, a lot's changed, and people are noticing that I am doing things differently. I do look very differently now, and people have been asking questions. So in a way, it's kind of nice to be able to recap how we got to where we are and what changed, and why things are different now to what they were. So I probably am not going to talk in specifics about my story as such. It's going to be more about sort of feelings, I think, probably. Because I think before this entire journey started, my main feeling was probably just one of overwhelm. I was constantly overwhelmed. I was one of those parents who just found everything hard. I found no sleep very hard. Turns out I had fatigue from postnatal depletion, but I just found no sleep really hard. I've always found no sleep really hard. I'm one of those people who just needs that little bit more sleep than most. And I really struggled with the no sleep. I struggle with the whinging. I'm sure every mom in the world struggles with whinging. Put your hands up. If you do you struggle with whinging? I struggle with whinging. Wave at me, send me some anything. If you struggle when your kid goes on and on about something that you think you've already addressed 4 times, I find that hard. So that's bad. But the biggest thing for me was health. We were just all sick a lot of the time. So my eldest has a lot of issues with hypertonia and sensory processing and lots of other things. And he was sick a lot. And he was very, very badly fecally loaded, which is not attractive. It is absolutely just as disgusting as it sounds. And yeah, he was not in a good place. My youngest had eczema and asthma quite badly. My husband has MS. I have a spinal injury that has been ongoing since I was 12, with a lot of associated problems. And you know, when you get onto that spiral where one thing leads to another, and you're just going down and down into this pit of why is everything so horrible and so hard, and I really don't see how I'm supposed to get out of this. That's kind of where I was. Every day for 3 years, somebody in our house was sick, and it was hard. I felt like, I think every mom of young kids sort of feels like you're not really in control of life and you're kind of lurching from one problem to another. Maybe I'm exaggerating that. Hey, Sarah, how are you? I'm sure life with young kids sort of, feels overwhelming to you sometimes too. But I was in that state where literally every day it was overwhelming, every day. And I just felt like I was reacting. I was dealing with this issue and then another issue would come up, and basically I wasn't really planning anything or preparing for anything. I was just fighting fires. I was just doing the bare minimum to get by, and it was hard. And I think sometimes when you're just looking at your own problems, it can sort of feel very overwhelming. I think one of the things that I love about what I do now is that I get to help other people with their problems. And I think sometimes helping other people with their problems is the way to go. I think community is so important. This is why I love community. This is what I get from community. Okay. So for me, I think you're too close to your own problems. They're too personal. They're too difficult. It's just really hard to see sometimes those really obvious answers that, and this is why women do what we do. We sit down and we chat about things over coffee because the other lady is going to have the answer, because she's on the outside looking in. She's not emotionally connected. She's not so close to it. She's not, having to deal with your child every day or whatever. And it's a lot easier to help other women solve their problems than it is sometimes to solve your own problems. And I think when you're helping other people to solve their problems, it helps you to feel a bit more capable and a bit more confident in even attempting to solve your own, to be honest. And I think that's a lot of what I get out of community. It's that give and take that means I'm helping others, but then other people are helping me. And it just goes around, that karma thing where, what you give out, you get back. Not necessarily from the same place. It's not about paying back the person who gave something to you. It's very much about paying stuff forward. People feed into my life and support me and give me energy so that I can go forward and support other people and give them energy so that they can go on and go on and go on and, pay it forward, which is nice. And I think that is probably one of the biggest changes in my last 2 years, like the change in my community and the uplift in my community and the uplift in the number of positive stories that I'm hearing as well. Like I say, we were on this sort of spiral of just dipping down and down, and everything was hard and everything that we went to do was going wrong. And it was just, it was a lot of negativity. And to be able to have something positive somewhere to look at or talk to or whatever is just amazing. And to have support from your friends and to make new friends and all that is great. So that's been a big change for me in the last 2 years. I think we moved over to Australia 5 weeks pregnant. And I do have family here and I've got a lot of support, and we were very lucky that we were pregnant because I met a lot of people through the kids. Like I don't know about you guys, but I think, there's several stages in your life where you meet people, and one of those is at school, then there's university, then there's work, and then obviously there's children. Well, when we moved out, I was pregnant. I didn't work in Australia. I was very blessed in that way. And I was lucky because I did get to meet mums that were also newly in this stage of life and sort of able to support us through it. And I think that's kind of that sense of community and that being together, like through playgroup, through school, kinder, all that. It's just nice to be able to support each other. And I think, my job now is an extension of that. I get to continue supporting all the wonderful people that I get to meet, and it's really nice. Like it's a great thing. But I think the biggest change for us has definitely been that we've moved from that feeling of overwhelm and reactiveness and not being in control to not contentment, but sort of just, yeah, we're content. Yeah, we're quite settled with what we've got. But more importantly, we feel like we're controlling it a bit more, or not necessarily only reacting, and that we're definitely planning. We're sort of going forward. We're having options. We're having goals. And I like to hear the stories of how other people have gone from very serious overwhelm to, feeling better or whatever else. For us, it changed a lot of, well, pretty much everything. It's changed us health wise. We're beyond recognition now. Money wise, we're doing a lot better. It's given us opportunities that we didn't have before. We went to Perth for 4 days earlier this year for a conference, which was amazing. I'm so looking forward to it. This weekend I get to go to the Gold Coast for 4 days without children, to play with all my wonderful girlfriends that I speak to online and chat with all the time. And we're going to do some training. We're going to do some hard work. It's good, but we work hard and we play hard. So we're going to be, swimming by the pool and having parties in the evening as well, and getting a little bit of work done. But yeah, it's been a big change. So I think for us, we went from a child who was really struggling for 10 months with quite a disgusting issue, to finding some products that really changed everything about us. And it sort of opened up learning again. Like, I haven't done any learning pretty much since I left college, apart from at work. I used to be a tax specialist, and I have to be honest, I was constantly learning in that role. But once I moved to Australia and I stopped at work, I kind of wasn't really learning in the same way that I am now. So I've learned an awful lot about nutrition and gut health and just sort of all those kinds of things that I never really was interested in or would have come across before. So that's been really interesting for me. And obviously I've done a lot of I think as a parent, you're constantly doing personal development anyway, because you've got these little mirrors, bless their little souls, who sit there and they highlight all the horrible things that you do, all the horrible things that you've let slip. And, I still remember to this day trying to teach them manners and the please and thank you. And I remember thinking, well, why would they do it? Because you don't do it. Not because I don't say please and thank you to everyone else, but I noticed that I really didn't say please or thank you to my husband. And I thought, well, we're the people that they're around the most. We should be saying please and thank you to each other, but also we should be saying please and thank you to each other because we do the most for each other, And I think sometimes you do let things slip and not notice that you've let them slip. And I think for me, it was always, surely the please and thank you is implicit, it's implied. You know that I mean it, but it wasn't fair to the kids to then expect them to know to say please and thank you when I wasn't actually verbally saying please and thank you. So that kind of pulled me up on that a bit. And there's been lots of little things where you're just like, oh, I used to do that. I don't do that as often as I thought I did, or I'm not as consistent with that anymore. And I think this is where all the personal training always comes back to, like, there's three things, isn't there? Really, there's like consistency, and then there's belief, and then there's, having dreams and all that kind of thing. And it's very weird, but I just find to stay consistent at anything is really, really hard. And it's like you have to constantly be on yourself and you have to constantly be picking yourself up. And I think that's what kids do for you. What they do for you is remind you that you need to check yourself and be better. And I think it makes you the better person of yourself. Like, I'm better than I was simply because of how much I've had to learn. And I think that's the thing that I love as well. I love that as humans, as a species, we are learning machines. Like, this is what we're designed to do. Everyone goes, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. You're meant to learn. That's what you're meant to do. Every single time you do anything, you are learning. If you're eating dinner, you're practicing, you're honing a skill with your knife and fork. It's all about fine motor skills. And it is a use it or lose it thing. The more often you do something, the better you get at it. The less often you do it, the worse you get at it. So you can learn to ride a bike. And they say you never forget to learn how to learn to ride a bike, right? You don't forget, but it becomes a lot harder. Like, I got on a bike the other day, trust me, it's not as easy as it used to be. It's just not, And then I was watching the kid at gymnastics today and he was doing some stuff and I was like, yeah, I can't do that anymore either. I did once, not anymore. And I think, we learn. Every time we do anything, we are learning because we're practicing, because we're getting better, because we're improving. We're meant to be constantly improving ourselves. And I think that helps you to feel better, because it gives you purpose. And I think everybody needs a purpose. We all need to feel like we're doing something. I think, honestly, if we were all like given huge amounts of money and we were doing nothing, I think we'd be bored I think we'd be fed up, but more importantly, I think we'd be depressed, because I think as a race, as a species, we like to feel like we're doing something. I think it's just fundamentally part of being human. Maybe I'm wrong. Give me a comment if you think something different, or if you have a different view on that, that'd be great. But for me, I just think we're designed to learn, and it's not about being perfect. It is definitely about being better than we were yesterday, or trying not to make the same mistake again, or even sometimes just acknowledging that you made a mistake. I mean, I find that's the hardest thing, the perfectionism that I kind of knew I had, but I didn't realize to what extent until my eldest became extremely perfectionist. Not necessarily from things that I did. It's an internal thing, perfectionism. And I think I was probably 16 when I first realized that the wish to do well came from inside me, not from, like, I used to think that my dad put pressure on me to do well. He didn't. He never did. But I know when I went to school, and I was off for a long time because of my back, and I had exams, and I got 2 A's, 4 B's and 3 C's, and I wasn't happy. I felt like I should have done better. I felt like I'd let everyone down. I was disappointed. My dad was over the moon. He thought it was amazing. He was like sat there going, "You taught that yourself. You weren't even there. You did really well." And I was just sat there going, "Nope, nope. Should have done more. Should have done more." And I think in a way, I hadn't realised how much I had internalised that need to get that right. And it's funny how we learn things as we go. But yeah, I found it fascinating. So my story today is a little bit wrong, because I'm not going to just tell you my story. I'm going to talk you through on emotions, because I'm still learning now about emotions. I don't really understand them or think about them or even process them, really, to be honest. I tend to push them to the side and carry on. But I think they're definitely what drives a lot of us, and what keeps us all sane. And for me, I was permanently overwhelmed for about 8 years, just permanently overwhelmed. And then, the products came into our lives, and that saved me from a health perspective that I can't even describe, and did amazing things. And then the business came into our lives, and I come back to every time, I think sometimes we overanalyze things and we make mistakes, but also I think fear gets in our way. I think sometimes we're afraid to be successful, let alone to fail. I think sometimes we're afraid to be successful. And I think if someone had said to me, "Oh, there's a marketing opportunity, it's an MLM, do you want to do it?" I'd have probably gone, "No, thank you, that's not for me. Get away from me. I'm not interested," And yet what this business has brought to our lives and what we've done has, it can't be measured. We live a completely different life now, a year on, than we did when we started. And it's funny that this challenge has come up right now, because actually I've been in the business for nearly a year. Just a year, actually, just gone a year. And it has been the most transformative year of our lives. It has been the biggest learning curve. I thought the kids being born and having to adapt and change to that was a massive learning curve. But this year has really opened my eyes to what I'm capable of. I have a lot more belief in myself and my ability and where I'm going and what I can do and what I control and what I can change, than I've had in a long time. Probably pretty much since I stopped working in my professional life. And I think sometimes as parents, we know how important it is to spend time with our kids, and we want to do that, but we underestimate how important it is to keep our brains occupied. And you know how you have that conversation about, "I've done nothing but talk to 5-year-olds all day. Can I have an adult conversation, please?" I remember going somewhere the other week, and I was chatting to my husband, and we were about an hour and a half into the conversation, and we started talking politics. And I said to him, "Do you realise we haven't talked politics in I don't know how long?" Because pretty much every conversation we have now revolves around the kids. It revolves around what happened today, what do they need, what have we got to do next, or if we're lucky, we might talk about holidays. Yay, because sometimes we get those. But generally, it's the kids, and that's it. We don't talk about nothing anymore. And I feel that's my fault. But I get tired. And I'm like, I don't want to talk at all now. I just want to sit in a corner and stare at the wall. But no, we're doing a lot better with that as well, because we've got better energy. We're sleeping better. We're doing better. And because of that, we're able to have better quality conversations and make better decisions and spend our time more wisely. And everything is so much more than it was So, I'm excited to be doing this journey. I'm excited that it only goes up from here, that it only gets better from here. And I think, I'm very confident that the product that I found is a very good one, that it does what it needs to do. I'm very confident that the business that I'm in is going to be here 50 years from now and is going to support us going forward. But mostly I'm just happy to have me back, to be a better parent, to be a better wife, and to move forward from here knowing that I can make a difference in other people's lives and that every person that I meet is making a difference in mine. And that's awesome. I'm really enjoying it. I'm just enjoying it, and I'm loving sharing it with everybody else, and how nice and welcoming everyone's been, and how much love everyone's given to us has been amazing. So yeah, I'm excited. And I get to go to the Gold Coast, which is even better. So I'm going to the Gold Coast for 4 days on Thursday, and I can't wait. And I will be back in time for Monday next week. And next week I will properly talk about something useful, I want to talk about the shouting at the rain, and it's more about time management and priorities, really. But yeah, we'll get into that next week. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Chris. Hey, Danae. Gosh, a few of you jumped on there. How you going? Waving. Hello to everybody. It's late and it's Monday, and that was my story, sort of. So yeah, keep watching, keep following, and hopefully we'll keep sharing little bits that we learn, and something somewhere might be useful. Take care. Bye.